Hi, thanks for joining me. So today we're going to do another low-tech video here. I just wanted to go over some characters that I would like to see in Marvel Strike Force. I was talking about this last video. It's a game I just started playing, probably been playing it for 4 weeks maybe, something like that. So I'm a new player, so I can't give you, in-depth review of, how I think that these characters would fit into the meta and what sort of gameplay I'd like them to have and things like that. But just kind of thematically, and just based on characters that I'm familiar with from when I was reading comics. I read comics 20 years ago. These Marvel Spider-Man, X-Men, Wolverine, that kind of stuff. So I don't have a lot of recent knowledge, but I also I'm a fan of the Marvel movies. I'm a fan of Marvel games and things like that. So I am at least familiar with a lot of the popular and classic sort of staple characters of some of these Marvel comics. And I think one of the things that's really cool about Marvel Strike Force is there's a ton of really great characters in it. But I think that makes some of these omissions stand out even more because they're definitely missing some really classic characters that I would love to see. For starters, we're going to talk about the Spider-Verse. And Spider-Verse in Marvel Strike Force right now is pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. There's a really good or stable, I should say, of symbiote villains and heroes. So you've got Symbiote Spider-Man was actually just released. You have Carnage and Venom and stuff like that, which is really cool. You've got Miles, I think, from the new Spider-Verse movie, which is cool. But then you've got some pretty cool villains too. Mysterio, Green Goblin. Although it's kind of a weird version of Green Goblin, but I think it's from some alternate comic or storyline I didn't read. You've got Rhino and stuff like that. There's good Vulture. A lot of cool villains, but I think one thing you're really missing in Spider-Verse is female characters. It is super male centric. One character that I remember from when I was reading Spider-Man that would just show up now and then I always thought was cool is Black Cat. I know that she's kind of a B-list, maybe C-list kind of, villain slash hero character. But I thought she was great. She was fun. She has a great look. Her outfit's cool. She'd be a super cool brawler, I think. And I would just love to see her in the game. I'd love to see the Spider-Verse get some of these cool female characters. Not on my list so much, but I remember Silver Sable used to show up a whole bunch. Spider Woman. I have an old an old issue of Avengers here. Spider Woman. Whatever happened to her? I remember she was in some of the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games or something like that. A really cool character in those. So I'd love to see her. But in particular, I think my pick is Black Cat. I'd like to see her in Marvel Strike Force. Next up, more Marvel stuff. Like I said, the villains are pretty cool, but Lizard. I think Lizard is kind of a standout staple. Spider-Man villain that we're missing. Again, I don't know. He would be like a brawler with healing abilities, probably. I mean, maybe he could be a healer himself if one of the villains teams needs a healer or something like that. Again, like I said, I don't know much about it. I just started playing the game, but yeah, I'd like to see Lizard in there. I think he's missing from the game. I think it would be really cool for the Spider-Verse to have him. Next up, so like I said, I would read Wolverine, and I was trying to think of Wolverine characters, heroes or villains that I feel like are really missing, and it's weird. It's hard to remember them. I read Wolverine for quite a while, but I think the standout for me is Lady Deathstrike. She is just such a cool foil to Wolverine, another kind of Weapon X character, and man, where is she? Why is she not in Marvel Strike Force? I think she'd be a really cool addition, especially since she's a villain character. I just think that'd be really great. We've got Sabretooth. Where's Lady Deathstrike? I think she would be really cool. Next up, we have Blade. I think Casino mentioned this too when he did a video similar to this. I really know him from the movies, I would say, more than anything. But man, those movies were so cool. I mean, they got a little crazy and cheesy, but just so good. And he's shown up in other stuff. video games and stuff like that, this is Marvel Ultimate Alliance. And, you got Spider-Man, Captain America, Wolverine, and Blade right on the back there. And I remember he was an awesome character in this game. And, if you take games, too, we've got all these characters. Electro, Wolverine, Thor, The Thing, Ghost Rider, Captain America, Iron Man. But we don't have Blade. I think he's a no-brainer. There's, supernatural characters in Marvel Strike Force. So it seems like he would probably fit right in there. Again, I don't know what the supernatural team needs, for instance, but I think Blade is a character that would be really cool to see in the game. Next, so the X-Men, I feel like maybe the X-Men are kind of just starting as a team. We just got Cyclops. Colossus has, I think, been sort of a rare, hard to get character. I think we're just going to be able to get him a little more easily. So I think they're just starting with the X-Men, but you can get a full X-Men team of 5 or 6 characters now, and we've got some good stuff. For instance, we have Storm with her awesome mohawk, so we've got we're starting to build up this X-Men team. This Storm, you've got Wolverine, you've got Colossus, which is great. We're missing Nightcrawler, and I think Nightcrawler would be pretty cool, but for me, the character that I'm picking in particular is Rogue. I really like Rogue. She's been such a staple of the X-Men for so long. This is the Avengers king size annual where she first shows up. She's in way later. Way later than this. A couple of years later. She's still a key part of the team, and I really love Rogue. She's one of my favorite X-Men, so I'm really sad to see her not in the game yet. I think she's a no-brainer. She really needs to be in there. Next up, more X-Men stuff, but this is more like the cartoon, I would say. A lot of people that didn't read the comics necessarily saw that X-Men cartoon, right? And Jubilee was, I think, just a fun character in that, She's not a super great, powerful X-Man, but I think that that's one of the reasons why she's interesting as a character, because the way I remember her, I think it was in the comics, where she kind of first hooked up with Wolverine, and Wolverine really took her under his wing. They were this team, and I think kind of like how you have, is it Drax from the Guardians of the Galaxy and Mantis in the game, and they make this synergy pair where they synergize well with each other. I would really love to see Jubilee in the game synergizing well with Wolverine, because I think of them as this team, they're sort of this 2-person team. Wolverine really he really was a little bit of a guardian figure for Jubilee, and she was a fun character in the cartoons. When the cartoon came out, you had kind of the core, I think what was the core X-Men at that time, and some of the slightly new characters were Jubilee and Gambit, but they are major X-Men characters now. I think especially, this is decades later, but just especially in that cartoon, that really cemented them in the collective consciousness of X-Men fans and people that are into the comics. So yeah, her. Also, this was really exciting for me to hear. Casino did an interview just today or yesterday or something with one of the senior game developer for Marvel Strike Force, and he was saying he wanted to see magic in the game, and I thought that was so cool. When I was really first starting to get into X-Men and reading one of the major crossovers, it was Inferno, and Inferno was a super cool crossover. Here they have Darkchild No More, which I think is what she was called at the time rather than Magic. Her name is Illyana. She is Colossus' sister. I love Colossus. I love Illyana. And I would love to see that. So I'm excited because it feels like there's a guy on the inside who's designing the game who really wants that character in there. So I think we're gonna get Magic, which is super cool. And I think there's other stuff you could do with that. I'm saying I was reading Inferno. You had Mr. Sinister. He is in the game, so I think that's really cool. And this is his Marauders, really. I think there's a Marauders team in the game. I'm not super familiar with them because, like I said, I haven't gotten very far. But like you've got other characters here too that were, they were important in Mr. Sinister's Marauders back then. Vertigo, Harpoon, Polaris, I think. I don't remember what this guy's name was or her, but you know what I'm saying? Maybe the ones at least that I can remember their names are, they might be cool characters to have in the game. But Magic in particular, I think she would be super cool. Just thematically too, just what she would bring, like kind of being able to summon demons and stuff like that. I mean, she would be a great summoner. I think that would be neat. And yeah, possibly my last X-Men characters here. It's what do we got here? Just one of the teams here is Dazzler, right? Dazzler was a really major character, and I get that like her introduction's a little cheesy. I think she was actually kind of a tie-in with a real singer, and it was sort of more of like a marketing promotion. And her first comic run was pretty cheesy, I think, and it just but she was a core member of the X-Men for years and years, and I think she was so much fun. I remember we just got Blob in Marvel Strike Force and Toad, but I remember I think it was Blob that ran into her at one point, and they were like gonna fight, and he just kind of stops and he's like, "I'm such a fan of yours." And I'm like, that's awesome. Like she was so sassy and just so much fun and strong. She's got that like those laser like light beams, and like she's always been like a power player in the X-Men. Just a really hard hitter. I don't know, did I mention Havoc too? Like again, I kind of forget, like talking about Inferno and everything like that. You gotta have Havoc in there. I know that he kind of got, I don't know, like belisted into X Factor or something like that, but he's been a big part of the X-Men history, and I've always liked Havoc too. Again, he's just sort of like a hard hitter with like a cool energy beam. He's Cyclops' brother and stuff. I would really like to see Havoc in there. But I just kind of wanted to finish up, I guess, with this comic. This was some sort of big Marvel anniversary that they did this border on a bunch of their comics for. And I just want to make the point that Marvel Strike Force is doing pretty good with having all of these characters. Like, these are some of the biggest, most popular, most staple X-Men characters, granted from 30 years ago at this point. But you've got the black suited symbiote Spider-Man, Hulk, Iron Man, I don't know who that is, Doctor Strange, Namor, Captain America, Wasp, Ant-Man. They're all in the game right now. But emissions, again, if I'm not necessarily advocating for, but Kitty Pryde, she was such a big part of the X-Men. She's a super cool character too. Rogue, you gotta have her in there. Wolverine, Colossus, they're in. Storm is in. I don't even know who that is. Nightcrawler, he's missing too. Again, I'm not necessarily advocating for him, but I think Nightcrawler, Iceman. Phoenix is in there. You've got Cyclops in there now. No Angel, that'd be kind of nice. Is that Old Beast? Daredevil, Red Witch, is that right? Vision, Hawkeye, Luke Cage, Thing. These characters are all in there. Another one that's missing though. How about She-Hulk? Get She-Hulk in there anyway. But it's the point I'm making is like most of these characters are in there. So I think this is a pretty good guide for characters that aren't in Marvel Strike Force yet. She-Hulk would be pretty cool actually. Rogue, Kitty Pryde, Nightcrawler, stuff like that. I think would be good choices. Anyway, that's those are my picks. I'm enjoying the game. I'm not planning to do more Marvel Strike Force content, but I did make an alliance. The alliance that I was in, I just felt like it wasn't really being managed, so that I felt like we were really going to have a really active alliance. So I made my own. It's called Morlock's Den. I've got, I think, 3 of my real life friends are playing in it with me. So there's us 4, and then there are people that I pulled in from my old alliance that are in it. They're all really active. We've gotten some new people in. They're all really active. So we've got just about a half an alliance full of people that are actively participating every day. And I'm not intending this to be a hardcore alliance. I don't want it to be super regimented. I don't want, it's open to new players. I want it to be casual. I want it to be free to play, but I do want it to be active. And by active, I just mean you log in every day. You get your daily, rewards. When we have raids, you hop in, you clear some nodes. You hopefully get at least maybe 10 nodes cleared, in the raids, and you just participate. That's all I'm looking for. You're logging in. You don't have to log in every day, but it kicks you automatically if you're not on for 3 days, because we want the alliance to be active. Otherwise, I think it's pretty casual. So if you guys are interested, join me doing that. I hope you like hearing my picks for Marvel Strike Force characters, and hope you'll join me again. Take care, guys.